Cuba and the European Union evaluates in Havana the status of the implementation of the political dialogue and cooperation agreement in the context of the Third Joint Council of the parties. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić urged NATO to urgently cease violence against Serbs and declares highest levels of combat readiness. Democratic Republic of the Congo is looking to strengthen the partnership with China as the two countries are renegotiating mining contracts for the DRC's mineral reserves. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll begin with the news. Stay with us. On Friday, the Third European Union-Cuban Joint Council takes place in Havana. The meeting is chaired by Cuba's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Trade, Ricardo Cabrizas, and the European Union High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security and Vice President of the European Commission, Josep Borrell. Cabrizas highlighted the interest of promoting the implementation of the political dialogue and cooperation agreement between the parties. Cabrizas agreed to Swedish representative in charge of the rotating presidency of the European Union, and which succeeds to Spain, which will take over the leadership of the 20th nation community bloc on July the 1st. On Friday, Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel met with a High Representative of the European Union, Josep Borrell, according to his Twitter account. In the meeting, they confirmed the contribution of the political dialogue and cooperation agreement to the progress of the relations among Cuba and the European Union and its member countries, and maturity with which they have addressed several issues with the respect and on the basis of reciprocal and equal principles. They also discussed the positive results of the Third Cuba-European Union Joint Council and the significant damage caused by the U.S. blockade and the inclusion of Cuba in the spurious list of countries that allegedly sponsor terrorism, to the links between Cuba and the European Union. In Cuba, the National Assembly of People Powers approved the Social Communication Law, an unprecedented mechanism on the island which regulates the contents of the state-owned media. According to the president of the Institute of the Information and Social Communication, Alfonso Noya, the aim of the law is to regulate a communication system for strategic and integrated management in the organizational, media and community spheres with political, organizational and commercial purposes and public good, both in physical and digital public spaces. In Ecuador, former policeman Germán Cáceres, confirmed ordered of his wife, lawyer María Belén Bernal, was sentenced to 34 years and 8 months in prison, a notorious case in Ecuador that involved the entire police institution.
The voices of these women will not be silenced. For almost 9 months, they have been standing up seeking justice for María Belén. María Belén Bernal was murdered on September 11, 2022, by the husband, a lieutenant of the Ecuadorian police, on the premises of a police training school, a resounding case that shocked the entire country.
The femicide took place in the police school, a place where the state must take care of you, where police officers have the objective duty of care to take care of the victims, to take care of the citizens in general.
Elizabeth Oravalo, María Belén's mother, denounced state complicity in the crime and smear campaign against her. They accused her of seeking financial compensation through her struggle.
I'm not doing this for money. Where is the money, gentlemen? I want my daughter back. I want justice. I just want justice. And now we're fighting patriarchal powers. And now.
But María Belén was not the only one. In 2022, 332 women were murdered for gender-related reasons in Ecuador. So far, in 2023, this scenario is not better. There are already 122 registered femicides.
We suffer the loss of our loved ones, my sister, her daughter. The state doesn't realize that behind the victims of femicide, there are relatives, there are children, there are siblings, there are mothers.
Victims' families denounce negligence by the judicial system.
I am a person who is threatened with death by the perpetrators of my niece, despite the fact that the prosecutor's office and some public institutions have asked for my protection. Yet nothing, the judge does nothing.
The prosecutors delay the hearings, the formulation of charges are not complied with. Unfortunately, as organizations, we have to suffer these violations by the justice system that does not exist in our country.
The sentence in the case of Maria Belén Bernal was due to be announced last week. However, the trial hearing was suspended due to the absence of the defendant's defense attorneys. This Thursday, it was restated. German Canceres was sentenced to 34 years and 8 months in prison, and Alfonso Camacho, a policeman accused of not helping the victim, even though he would have listened to her pleas, was acquitted.
Elena Rodríguez, TeleSUR Ecuador.
The Brazilian government announced a popular car plan aimed at lowering the price of automobiles as a way of modernizing the industrial park and simulation consumption in the country. The program was presented by the Brazilian government on the occasion of the Industry Day, when President Luis Ignacio Lula da Silva stressed the need for Brazilians to have access to the cheaper cars. The plan establishes tax exceptions for the cheapest cars, as well as for those that results in more jobs for the industry. According to the announcement, taxes will be reduced for vehicles with a market sale prices up to 120,000 reais, which represents an equivalent of almost $24,000. In Uruguay, food prices rise as a result of the prolonged drought affecting the nation. The National Statistics Institute stated that the monthly variation in prices was 0.75% in general, with a greater emphasis on food and non-alcoholic beverage. The last monthly report of the Consumer Price Information System in April 2023 detailed that during the month of the prices of the American tomato increased 38% with respect to March. Meanwhile, the government encouraged the importation of products such as potatoes in order to guarantee supply to the population. Experts assure that Uruguay is suffering one of the worst drought ever, with the country's water reserves operating at 10% for their capacity. The situation is forcing the authorities to mix the vital liquid with water supply from the estuaries of the Rio de la Plata, which has high levels of sodium and chloride, making it undrinkable. Meanwhile, government authorities have reported that main reservoirs in Montevideo currently has enough water to last 10 days. Let's take a very short break now, but remember, you can now follow us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. On Friday, Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić urged NATO to urgently cease violence against Serbs after several clashes in honor of the self-proclaimed Republic of Kosovo. The president's decision to declare maximum readiness in his country came after units of the Kosovar Special Forces broke into the administrative building of the municipality of Skevan. The arrival of the Kosovar agents was accompanied by the sounding of sirens in other localities such as Leposavic, Mitrovica, and Suvin Potov, located in the district of Kosovka, Mitrovica. RTS channels details that the attackers plan to place the flag symboling the independence of Kosovo on the headquarters of the municipal administration in Suvin Potok. Thousands of government supporters took to the streets on Belgrade, Serbia's capital, on Friday, following a string of demonstrations against President Alexander Vučić administration. The rally is widely perceived as a government's response to the opposition-led protests that have seen tens of thousands demonstrate in one of the largest mass demonstrations throughout the Balkan country in decades. The president hailed Friday's event as a gathering to unite Serbia and to show that it has a future. The protests against the government first took shape earlier this month, following back-to-back shooting within 48 hours, including a massacre at an elementary school in Belgrade. On Friday, French police tear gas protests held by ecologists against Total Energy's annual meeting. Hundreds of environmental activists tried to blockade the general shareholders meeting to protest against the pollution generated by the companies and its millionaire profits. The police tear gas a group that prevented the access of shareholders and employees to the company's facilities in the center of Paris. Some of the activists who participated in the rally were interviewed by the press. Hear what they said.
Today, we intended to block Total's general meeting, quite simply, because they've got in the way of energy transition for the past 50 years. It is a denial of democracy. In fact, they have known for 50 years about the effects of oil and gas production and climate change, and they have chosen to use all their power, all their money, to create a culture of denial that we are paying for today in extreme climate events, from one side of the hemisphere to the other.
I've moved all the way, like over 5,000 miles, to come to the Total AGM because it's important to people like me. I'm so grateful that I'm the voice to the voiceless, a person who can fight for their communities, because our leaders have just proven to us that they don't care about the people, but rather the profits. And coming to today's Total AGM is an important thing to me, because it is the only space I just feel I should send my message to the Total stakeholders.
Fossil fuel companies around the world are realizing the reputational costs that come with the new fossil fuel ventures, and they are also seeing that people are getting together, that we are networking globally, that we are taking on the banks, that we are funding Total and are willing to fight to shut down these fossil fuels business models.
Municipal elections will be held on Sunday in Spain, where the 35.1 million voters are registering to determine 12 self-governments and more than 8,100 councillors. In the autonomic elections, the Spanish people will elect the deputies of these entities, and this will elect a president of the autonomous government. Several political parties continue to present their proposals with the aim of obtaining the support of the citizens at the polls, thus seeking to form absolute majorities in the city's councils and assemblies. Turkey entered the house stretch of an acrimonious presidential campaign on Friday, in which Recep Tayyip Erdogan and his rival Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu exploited fears over the migrants and Kurdish militants. In Sunday's runoff, Erdogan's appears on the track to extend until 2028, the 2 decades of his Islamic-style rule. His victory will preserve the key NATO members' reputation as a problem child pushing his own course in the Middle East. Erdogan surprised pollers on May the 14th, where he pulled ahead of his 2 challengers and came within the wager of crossing the 50% threshold to win the race in the first round. TeleSUR English continues to grow. You can now tune in from 33 different African countries through StarSat, dial 461, and join our Latin American alternative broadcast. One final short break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. On Friday, the Democratic Republic of the Congo is looking to strengthen their partnership with China as the two countries are renegotiating mining contracts for the DRC's mineral reserves. The first state visit to China by the President of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Felix Tshisekedi, is the latest in a series of diplomatic exchanges between the African leaders and Beijing. Mr. Tshisekedi and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping announced that they were upgrading the bilateral relationship from win-win strategic cooperative partnership to a comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership. China is a major investor in DRC, where the Asian power dominates the lucrative mining industry with companies such as Sika Mines. On Friday, Russia's Foreign Ministry Sergei Lavrov said Russia is ready to supply Somalia's army with military equipment in its war against terrorism. So, Russia's top diplomat said Moscow reaffirmed its readiness to meet the material needs of the Somalian army in this fight against extremism that remain in Somalian territory, including Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda. Somalia has faced numerous attacks from Al-Qaeda's East African affiliate group Al-Shabaab, and recently the government embarked on what has been described as the most significant offensive against the Al-Shabaab extremist group in more than a decade. In Sudan, residents of the 3 districts of the Sudanese capital are living in a tense calm on Friday as there has been no clashes between the regular army and the paramilitary rapid support forces. According to the FTS, despite shortages in shops since the beginning of the conflict on April 15th, more than Sudanese left their homes in the morning for market to buy all kinds of basic products to meet their needs, both food and medicine. Some of the bridges linked into the 3 cities of the capital Khartoum saw a smooth flow of traffic on Fridays. This was despite the fact that the rapid support forces took control of 4 of the 10 bridges. Africa's largest polio vaccination drive since 2020 to target 21 million children under the age of 5 kicked off on Friday in 3 West and Central African countries. This is a combined effort by national health authorities with the support of the World Health Organization, beginning in Cameroon, Chad, and Nigeria before being extended to the Central African Republic next week, and it comes in response to that campaign. To combine a total of 19 detected cases of type 2 polio viruses in these countries. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also use us on our socials from Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram as well. For Telesur English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero, and thank you for watching.